So, everybody ready? 3, 2, 1.
So I just got done taking a ride in some Lucid vehicles, and this is one of those great days in life. Now, I have to say, obviously being in the Mustang, and I enjoy rolling my gears, and this brings up the question, really, what will gearheads do with these electric vehicles coming out? So if you think about it, it's an issue that real gearheads really have. Electric vehicles are fast. Electric vehicles are going to be easier to maintain, less components moving around, and just in terms of things breaking down. If anything, you might have to worry more about the electronics, but not nearly as many mechanical problems that could go wrong as you own the car. But I gotta say, after just going for a ride in some of their vehicles, it is enough to make me kind of wonder, can a high performance guy really get with an EV?
There's that tingling feeling.
There you go. Nicely done.
I can't lie to you. All right, the truth be known. This is not my first time and certainly in an electric vehicle, but let alone in the drivetrain, the powertrain that Lucid is using. Some years ago, back when they were under the name of Ativa, I had an opportunity to go out to California and go for a ride in a van that they called Now, obviously just having a little bit of a drag racing background and being in some, at least relatively fast cars, nothing like that. But to experience that, they took us down a road. It was really one of those old Mercedes, one of the things we would call like a delivery van here. I think it was the Metris. And with that, you had the van, but it was equipped with, at that time, was Lucid's, we'll say, experimental powertrain, or Ativa at that time. And I remember the guy said to hold on, and mind you, he's in a big old panel, just big, look like he should be delivering flowers van. And he hit it, and I went back. Yep, it flew back just like that. I was thrown in my seat. The G's that I felt, I was just like, what just happened? And that was my first time really being in a real fast electric vehicle. Now, the thing about that was, at that time, they said, we're looking at 1,000 horsepower. And you're thinking, there's no way in the world you're going to have a production car with 1,000 horsepower. And the next thing you know, they come out with a car with 1,000 horsepower. So now to be able to go for a ride in the Sapphire and to feel those G's up against your body, that is impressive. But is it impressive enough for gearhead to want to trade in that manual transmission? So I have to be honest, would I be willing to trade in the Mustang? Would I be willing to trade in that sound when you start up a car and you hear that rumble for an electric motor? For me, I'm gonna have to say, not yet. But I think as we keep finding out the real business case for electric vehicles, look, these cars are not to attract us gearheads, to be honest with you. Yes, performance pulls people in. It makes great headlines, and it is very impressive. When I go out here to the track, Wild Horse Pass, and you see an electric vehicle going down, you see a Tesla Plaid, or you can just see really any Tesla model, from a 3 to a Y, and certainly an S, going down the track, and it's spanking Hellcat. it is nice to roll some gears, but to be honest, it does look pretty impressive. Now, of course, you really can't replace, and I think that's what really any car person needs to really think about. Why do you have the car? My Prelude isn't that fast. It's not fast at all, actually. I mean, I was trying to dip into the 14s in that bad boy.
A nice energy drink is unseen, so hey, you might just see what.
But you know the thing that I like about the Prelude? It has kind of that real just mechanical type of feeling. Colleague of mine has a Camaro and he's an engineer, loves fast cars, but he has a Toyota MR2 as well. And it feels very similar to the Prelude, except with that mid-engine. You know, you still kind of have this old, you know, in that case, 90s technology, hearing the noise, the car, the squeaks, but that adds to the love of the car. And I think that's really the thing that we have to think about, is that the EVs really do take away a lot of the love of the car, and it becomes a bit of a compliance. But that doesn't mean that both can't coexist. Both powertrains can coexist in someone's driveway. And I think that's going to be my future. If my life leads me to where I end up, you know, certainly staying around here in this country, I could certainly see myself having a fast battery electric and a fast manual transmission, internal combustion engine car. Because that's what the Prospector is all about. That is still me. I'm still a gear banger. I think the problem is we struggle with the fact that regulations, rules, legislators, politicians, they are going to be the ones to really dictate on what we drive in the future. It's not going to be us. But left up to the consumer, I certainly think gearheads, muscle car guys, they would love it, because it's almost like, why do you need to have a fast SUV? About the only thing we don't have is a fast minivan. Granted, though, I think Ralph Gilles did create one of those, but no one has really sold a really fast minivan. But you think about going back to pickup trucks. You figure somebody looked at a pickup truck like the old Little Red Express, etc., and they said, you know what would be a good idea? We got fast two-seaters. We got fast four-doors. Why don't we make a fast pickup truck? And then you had today, the TRX, the Raptor. You got these big old fast 4x4 pickup trucks. And so at the end of the day, I certainly think both of them can coexist. I think you're going to be able to have your fast electric vehicle, similar to owning that fast pickup truck. Because, you know, if you really, really want to go fast, you would get a smaller, a more lightweight, and a more nimble automobile, more car, not a big, heavy truck. But you don't want to sacrifice the utility of a truck, and you still want to have your speed. And I think that's what the electric vehicle is going to offer the performance car guy. It's going to be a case where they don't really have to sacrifice their speed in order to gain maybe a vehicle that requires less maintenance. Maybe it's nice because already we're trying to tinker around with software to end up modding our cars. And eventually, or even now, you can do that just with over-the-air updates. The fact that you're going to like the fact you don't have to fill up with gasoline. And pretty much every day you leave the house, you have a quote-unquote full tank. There'll be a lot of advantages for the car guy. The question is, will we have a choice? And I think that's what the car person, not just car guy, women as well, that's what they're going to struggle with. Now, in terms of the sound, I can't get down, because at the end of the day, there is no fake noise that's ever going to take the place of you can't fake the funk, baby.
So, everybody ready? 3, 2, 1.
So in the end, that Sapphire blew me away. It's even the same way that the quote-unquote regular Lucid Air felt. It was amazing. That power was amazing, but I can't lie. That feeling of those G's in the Sapphire, I've never experienced anything like that in a vehicle. And we're looking at supposedly about an 8-second quarter-mile range. That wasn't taking your car on a trailer. That wasn't removing and putting slicks on your car. That wasn't making sure your car had turbo blue in there. That wasn't making sure your nitrous lines were good and ready to go. That wasn't making sure that the track was prepped. That was on a closed road and just nailing it. And the back seat was as big as a doggone, was as big as sitting in the living room. It's quite stunning. It is quite stunning. And, obviously for $250,000, that's what you expect. But that lets you know the type of performance that you are getting out of some of these electric vehicles out here. And that's going to be the big pushing point. That's going to be the sell to us car guys. Of course, to the average consumer, I don't think they're really going to matter. They really don't care that much. It's good to have. But, let's be honest. And I think this is something that we all have to think about in the future. It becomes a case, well, how long